Bobo was making his way through the snow to the corner shop for a bottle of milk when he saw Charlie in front of him, kind of slipping and sliding along the footpath like a young child at play on his way to the sweet shop. Bobo called out a friendly hello, and Charlie turned around, nearly losing his balance on the icy footpath. He burst out laughing as Charlie's frantic antics to keep to his feet. Then he made his way over to Charlie, who seemed a little embarrassed. He rolled up a snowball and threw it at Charlie, hitting him on the shoulder. "Well, Charlie, isn't it a lovely day?" Charlie responded.
"It's freezing, Bobo."
"What is you out in the cold then?" Bobo asked.
"I'm picking up a parcel at the post office from my cousin in Australia,"
Charlie replied with pride and confidence. "You never told me you had a cousin in Australia," Bobo said, and Charlie smiled like a cat over a bowl of milk.
"His name is Dano, and every year he sends me a parcel with a few things for Christmas."
Bobo became aware of a kind of a guilt in Charlie's voice, and he said, "The only reason you never told me, Charlie, was because you didn't want to share your sweets and lollies from Australia."
I never told you about my cousin because I have a big surprise to tell you. My cousin Donald's invited me over for a few weeks for a holiday in Australia, and he's offered to buy 2 tickets, one for me and the other for a friend. And I was going to ask if you wanted to go, Bobo. The only thing he's waiting for is my yes or no.
Bobo said, "Well, Charlie,
what are you waiting for? Tell him, yeah, we're coming."
Charlie looked a little worried and replied,
Well, see, the thing is, Bobo, I've never been away from home for more than a weekend."
"Grow up, Charlie. You're nearly 20 years of age and you're at the point of your life when you have to spread your wings and fly. Leave the nest for longer times and fly to freedom of far-off places." Weeks had passed as the snow fell thick all over the town. After the jingle bells rung and the decorations were hung and all the Christmas carols were sung, young Charlie and Bobo were standing in the queue at the airport with a suitcase plastered with stickers in each hand. They both wore caps with the name of local businesses on them and scarves with designer logos, all on show and made possible by a brainwave from Bobo. Their new sponsors had gave Bobo and Charlie the extra spongy looks they needed for the holiday down under. They were soon on board the big jet aircraft that was ready to take off. The aeroplane thundered down the runway and lifted off the ground into the sky. Bobo was excited and Charlie was terrified. When the seatbelt sign was turned off, Bobo noticed Charlie had his hands joined in prayer, and he made a comment. "Charlie, if I didn't know better, I'd say you were turning religious." Charlie answered,
"Oh God, we're so high, Bobo. Don't let me die going up in the sky and this airplane miles from anywhere."
Bobo replied, "Stop worrying, for heaven's sake, Charlie. Just sit back and relax. We'll soon be in the land down under." As Bobo and Charlie made their way off the plane to the customs and then to the arrivals area, Charlie said,
"You're not going to tell the lads all about what happened, are you, Bobo?"
Bobo smiled and he replied, "Charlie, what happens in the air stays in the air, okay?" Charlie looked relieved and began to be more like himself again. He started hopping on both his feet ahead of Bobo and said,
What am I, Bobo? Tell me, do you know?"
Bobo stood there and shook his head. Charlie kept hopping and Bobo said, "Are you the Easter Bunny?"
"Don't be silly, Bobo. Can't you see? I'm a kangaroo."
Bobo walked on faster, leaving Charlie behind a little. After a while he looked back and saw Charlie was still hopping after him. It looked so funny. Bobo had a bit of a laugh. It didn't take them long to collect their suitcases and make their way out through the customs to the arrival section, where hundreds of people waited for family and friends. Bobo stopped there and looked around for a few minutes and then said, "So, what does your cousin Donald look like?" Charlie replied,
"I don't know, Bobo. We only wrote letters. I've never actually seen him before."
Bobo was stunned and said, "Charlie, you're having me on, aren't you?"
Sorry, Boo. I never thought. Hang on a minute, and I'll call him.
Suddenly Charlie started to scream out at the top of his voice all over the airport.
Dono, it's me, your cousin Charlie. Can you hear me, Dono?
Everyone began to look at Charlie. Bobo almost had to gag him to keep him quiet before saying with his hand over Charlie's mouth, I need you to listen very carefully to me, Charlie. When I remove my hand from your mouth, you are not to make a sound. Do I make myself clear, Charlie? Nod if you understand, because if I hear one peep out of you, I'll disown you, okay? As he nodded, Bobo slowly removed his hands from Charlie's mouth. He continued, I'm going to have a look around the airport, and while I'm doing that, I want you to say nothing. Stay right by my side and pretend, just for once, you are in control. Suddenly, Charlie began to hop up and down like a kangaroo. Bobo was not impressed, but Charlie was not making a sound. He just kept pointing at something. Then Bobo could see why Charlie was so excited. There was a man standing there in the front of the crowd, and he was holding up a big sign with bold lettering that said, Welcome to Australia, Charlie and Bobo. Charlie ran over and grabbed the man by the arm, and he said,
Hello, I'm Charlie. You must be my cousin Dono.
The man gave Charlie a big hug and a slap on the back, and he said,
G'day, mate. Great you could make it. We've heaps to do, so let's go. What a butler of a holiday we're going to have, mate.